Hey guys, it's Linux Next here. In today's video, we are going to be looking at a very interesting new gaming type distro that has been in the works for, I would say, quite a while, like almost a year now or so. And it's kind of like, I would say, the corporate, or like you could say, evil gaming distro versus something like SteamOS, and that is called Playtron. And before this video starts, definitely give it a like and definitely subscribe to the channel. I would definitely appreciate it. And we are going to be looking at the OS operating system on my desktop PC. We're going to kind of turn it into kind of just like a gaming console, you could say. But we're also going to be looking at like the handheld company they partnered with and how that's very interesting, and who actually runs Playtron OS and the background of those people in particular and what they've done in the past might be a bit interesting also. So if you don't know what Playtron is, it is basically its own, think of it as SteamOS basically. SteamOS, but it's not SteamOS. It's something completely different. It does use the very similar tools. Like I know it uses GameScope for one, which is used in SteamOS when it comes to the UI and playing games and all that. But if we do look at the website here, Playtron, every game, everywhere, everyone. Playtron extracts the gaming ecosystem from Windows and leaves everything else behind, which I guess is true. We are using Proton, so we are playing Windows games through a translation layer. The operating system for gaming. All right, yeah. Like, look. One thing to note here is the website does look really good. They've done a really great job with the marketing of Playtron. Playtron OS is specifically designed for games, optimizing both hardware and software to deliver the best possible gaming experience. We see more pictures here, more games being shown on one of the handhelds that they decided to partner with, like one of the companies they partnered with. That is one of the handhelds that will be running Playtron OS. Everyone can bring their own games by linking their gaming provider accounts, whether you prefer Steam, Epic Games, GOG, or another platform. So that's really cool that you are able to do that. And we can kind of see the UI here of what that looks like. And it does look pretty alright. It looks kind of similar to SteamOS, not really. So at least it looks a bit more unique, I would say. Wide device support, it says, supports all major handhelds, including gaming devices like the Valve Steam Deck, Asus, Neo, Lenovo, GPD, Win, and more to come. And it says here, desktop PC to come also. So there might be like a desktop mode or something that will be introduced, kind of like what the Steam Deck has, so that you can use Playtron on a desktop PC. Now, there is this handheld that they decided to, like a handheld company they decided to partner with. I forgot how you pronounce this, like SuiPlay or something, OX1. You can pre-order it, and if we do look at the page here, the price is $5.99. I'm guessing that's USD, so like for me, if I wanted to buy that, that's going to be like $800 or close to like $1,000 Australian. But if we do look and scroll through this device, it does look pretty okay when it comes to its build. Its ergonomics look average for my big hands. My hands will probably cramp after a couple hours. And it explains here your favorite PC games natively integrated, discover new worlds, own your assets, and this is where this device gets a bit interesting, and they're implementing a lot of crypto type of things, so like NFTs, I'm guessing, or some of the other type of Web3 crypto that you can do. This whole Web3 gaming thing that's becoming relatively like popular in the crypto space. This seems to be on this device. And it says here, unlock exclusive perks and rewards. And like one of the things about Playtron is when you make a Playtron account, you actually get some asset in your account. And I think if you buy this device, you'll probably get more assets of whatever crypto they use. So I'm not promoting it, I'm just explaining that that's what happens. I personally don't care about crypto really anymore. I don't think it's, like specifically with like Web3 gaming, I don't know if that's really the future. And NFTs and stuff, that's not really my thing, I would say. I think crypto has its place, but not really in the gaming space, and not really to do with like NFTs and stuff. That's kind of just a bit out of place when it comes to a handheld gaming device. And if we keep scrolling through the Playtron website, it says again, every game, everywhere, everyone. And they also have the latest news where some companies have reviewed, done articles about Playtron and probably the operating system and the handheld, like The Verge, VentureBeat, and TechRadar. And then there's been a press release. So one thing that was interesting is Square Enix actually made an investment into Playtron to expand distribution and access to next generation gaming via revolutionary game OS that transforms PCs into super game consoles. I guess that's good, but the good thing is that, you know, I guess Square Enix did invest into Playtron, which means they're investing into Linux gaming. So that's quite nice that Square Enix did do that. When it comes to investing specifically into Playtron, that's quite interesting. Or I'm guessing of like how that happened. It might have been a pretty interesting story of how like they got convinced to invest into this stuff. But if we do get Playtron OS, so now we have the download Playtron OS. Alpha 2. So Alpha 2 did release like a week ago, I think it was. And if we do look at the release notes here, you can see that device again. We can kind of see the UI. It does look pretty alright. And if we look through the Alpha 2 changelog, NVIDIA support for Turing, GeForce GTX 1600/20 series, and newer cards. Support for dual GPU systems such as desktops and laptops. OS upgrade from Fedora 40 to Fedora 41. Support for portable-based Wi-Fi connections. These devices have been tested by Playtron and are known to work. So the Aeon Neo 2 and 2S, the Rogue Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, the Valve Steam Deck LCD NVMe only, and the Steam Deck OLED should work on Playtron OS because they actually own these devices and have tested it. And then the new updated features, full cloud save support with conflict resolution for Epic Game Store and GOG games, app details page with game metadata and actions. So that's pretty cool that they've got game metadata now. Full support for mouse and keyboard input, new sound effects, basic avatar system, select custom game input configurations, some text. A limited selection of inputs are provided by the Playtron team as part of the Alpha 2 launch. Input configuration creation will be one of the features of our upcoming tool Playtron Labs. So if you do looking for some more input configuration creation, that is coming soon in their labs thing, which I'm guessing is more of like an experimental thing where you can try out some new features. Time zone support, that's quite odd that that wasn't there already, but that's cool. That's finally there. Up to 2 times battery usage improvement in OS. That's pretty good. And then over 100 bugs have been identified and fixed. Cool, that's awesome that they're fixed some bugs. But there is still a lot of known issues, as we can see here. So I'm going to leave this in the description where you can go and look at all of these issues. There seems to be a couple like Steam Deck issues, cloud issues, some automatic time zone issues, some Rogue Ally issues, kinds of different issues in this Alpha 2 release. Now you may be wondering who runs the show of Playtron. And we can click on company and we can scroll down relatively, like it shows here, open source powered. We believe Linux is the future of gaming. The Playtron team has deep roots in open source projects from Android's early days to key contributions to modern Linux gaming projects. So as you can see, they have forked, I'm guessing, a bunch of these applications. So to have it in Playtron, and maybe some of the developers have like contributed to this before. I know Chimera OS is one that has, I think, some like deep roots into Playtron when it comes to development stuff. I'm guessing they may have poached some of those developers to work on Playtron, and maybe Lucius Heroic and all these other projects also. And it says Playtron will be making community tools available for contribution and is hiring actively from the Linux gaming community. So if you are a Linux developer and you want to maybe work at Playtron, they probably would be happy to have you when it comes to whatever development they may need you to do. And then we look at the founders of Playtron. Now, there may be one person, like I've researched a little bit on all of these three, but there's one in particular that stuck out to me because Kurt McMaster, I myself, when I was like 12 years old, I had like a Samsung tablet. And back in those days, you would usually, if you wanted to get the most out of your Android device, you would probably flash a custom ROM, and then you may root the device with something like Super SU, or one of those like automatic root applications that you would open and it would just automatically root the device for you. And one of the custom ROMs that was really popular was called Cyanogen Mod, and that particular ROM was ran by Kurt McMaster. And well, Kurt McMaster had a lot of like issues when it came to running that ROM, as he wanted to take this ROM, Cyanogen Mod, and he wanted to take it further. He wanted to take it away from Google, and he wanted it to turn into something else. And so there was a lot of big head clashes with this guy called Steve, and there was a lot of mismanagement, as stated in this title. It's just like ever since the formation of Cyanogen Inc. co-founder and original founder, Steve has largely been quiet and doing things behind the scenes, even when the company's loudmouth CEO Kurt McMaster made statements like putting a bullet to Google's head. Condig was no nowhere to be found. Now that Cyanogen is shutting down, and this is back in 2016, letting go of its employees and its future looking bleak, Conte has finally spoken out about the mismanagement inside Cyanogen. The future of Cyanogen and Kirk McMaster in the post to Google Plus, when Google Plus was still around, says that was started with the vision to bring the OS to more devices for this, as it's a custom ROM which runs Android, so you want to bring it to as many devices as possible and get as many developers to maintain those devices. He hired a lot of community folks and eventually raised a lot of money. However, one thing started looking positive for the company. CEO Kurt McMaster started making nonsensical comments in public that tarnished Cyanogen's reputation. He said here, by the time I was able to stop it, I was outgunned and outnumbered by a team on the same mission. We essentially stopped shipping after a while because there ended up being two sides, split between the original vision and this new amorphous blob that nobody could figure out, let alone build. Eventually, I tried to salvage it with a pivot that would have brought us closer to something that would have worked. But the new guys had other plans. With plenty of cash in the bank, the new guys tore the place down and will go and do whatever they are going to do. It's probably for the best and I wish them luck, but what I was trying to do is over. So basically, Kurt just like took over the office and the original founder of Cyanogen Mod, which was to try and just make a custom ROM, make a good experience, bring new features to it, and keep it in that Android Google ecosystem, but not having like Google stuff probably installed, because I know Cyanogen Mod was basically Lineage OS, which is another ROM that basically went off and did its own thing, and it's still running today and it has so many devices supported, but he tried to make that vision possible, and he did. And then Kurt ripped it down, bringed in people that had a vision for his vision, not the other guy's vision. And so that's why Cyanogen Mod doesn't exist anymore. So Playtron OS, it's quite interesting that this guy, I mean, even look at him, like he looks like he wants to, do some particular things in a company that may be pretty dangerous for the company. But let's see how this goes, because these two other guys, they worked at Google, Android, Google/Android, Meta, and then this guy has worked at multiple startups. He worked at Atari. He worked on also Alone in the Dark, which I'm pretty sure is a video game, if I had to guess. So these two other guys, maybe they're great friends and they really have a vision for this Linux gaming and this Playtron OS they're trying to build. And then they've decided to partner up with a company to make a handheld that has got to do with particular crypto things. So quite interesting to say the least about this whole operating system, this whole company, and this handheld device. Alright, and as we can see now, we have flashed the ISO on a USB stick. So now what we're going to have to do is boot into the USB stick itself to install Playtron OS. And as you can see, there is the Playtron logo that shows up when you actually do have it installed. It's like booting. That's what shows up. It looks pretty basic. It's using that GNOME loading icon when you usually boot your computer. Now, one thing I will note here is that Playtron does take quite a while to actually boot into the USB stick. I don't know why it takes this long. Maybe it's because of my USB speed, but I mean, I've had other distros on this USB stick plugged into that USB on my computer and it boots way faster. Alright, and it has come up on my second monitor, so if I do move my second monitor here, you should be able to see what is being shown here. Which, if we do zoom in here, we can see the install selection. This is the installer of Playtron. So you only get the SSDs, so basically the mounted drives that show up, and you have to decide which one you want to fully install Playtron on. There's no selecting any type of different partition that you've made, maybe like an empty partition you want to install Playtron on. You're not allowed to do that. You need to select a SSD. So I have to format this first one. I've backed up all my games to install Playtron on this SSD. So we're just going to do that. We're going to go erase disk and install. And now it's going to install Playtron OS, which doesn't take that long, surprisingly. It's pretty quick, I would say. Alright, as we can see now, the installation is complete. So the next thing we're going to do is reboot the computer. And of course, it's going to switch our boot order to the Playtron OS boot order. So I'm going to have to switch that back to my Endeavour OS boot order, so then I can actually boot into my other distros that I have installed. But as we can see, Playtron is booting currently. And as I said before, that is the boot animation. Pretty simple, does the job. And one thing to note here is that it's spawning on my third monitor for some reason. So I'm gonna have to unplug my third monitor so then it shows up on the main monitor. Alright, as we see here, the first thing that we see is an end user license agreement. So when I did install this yesterday, there is 2 agreements you have to agree to. This one and a privacy policy agreement that you have to agree to. Then you have to make an account. Now I'm really disappointed that we have to do this. I'm guessing it's because you link all your game accounts to your Playtron account so then it can sync all those game libraries. But it's also like there is other ways you can do this. I know of ways of how Lutris syncs different accounts in your library and it syncs everything. You don't need an account to do that. So I wish this wasn't an option, or it was an option but you could skip it. So there could be a skip button on the bottom left or something, or right under sign up, and you wouldn't have to sign up for a bloody account. Alright, and then after we sign in, it's going to start downloading some components for us. Whoa! Insane! And basically, downloading components, it's probably just grabbing the necessary packages. GameScope's already installed, so that can't be it, but maybe it's installing Steam. I wish there was a log option, but I know that this is trying to be very like user-friendly, so we probably don't want to show that button, but it would be nice if that was a thing. The next thing is select providers. So we're excited to help you get started on your gaming journey. First, let's select your preferred gaming providers. You can choose from the following options. So there's 2 options, there's Epic Games and Steam. So I'm gonna connect Epic Games and Steam. Yesterday I only connected Steam. Today I'm going to do specifically Epic Games. So we're going to select Epic Games and Steam. I'm going to click next. And then as we can see here, it is downloading some components for us. I'm sorry if my camera can't focus on what's being shown. It seems to be struggling to just focus on this. So it's a bit overexposed, I would say. But it does say downloading Epic Games components. And it's going to download the Steam one also. Alright, and then it brings up the next page saying to log into your Epic Games account so then it can sync to your Playtron account. Alright, as we can see now, it's downloading the next one that we selected, which is Steam. So after this downloads, it's going to bring up a similar thing where we're going to have to connect our Steam account to our Playtron account. So then Playtron can grab all of our games. Alright, as we can see here, like I said just before, this is the page where you connect your Steam account to your Playtron account, so then the Playtron account can grab all your Steam games. Alright, and now we can see that it's importing my game collection from Steam, and maybe from Epic Games also. And now it's just going to download some additional Steam components. Maybe things like Proton is probably one of them, so the games can actually run on this Linux system. Alright, and as we can see here, we have made it into the main menu. Now, I do have a controller plugged in. I said in my community post yesterday that this controller, the SN30 Pro Plus controller, as we can see, very nice controller I would say, with the 8BitDo wireless dongle that connects to this controller, it is working all well in this system. So if we do go to settings here, there is a software update. We got our internet, our Bluetooth, our display, our audio, our storage, linked accounts, time zone, and events. So I need to change my time zone because it's set into UTC. So we're just going to find Melbourne, which is somewhere around here. There it is right there. I'm going to select it. It changes. That's right, that is my time right now. But there is the set automatically. If you don't want to do that, I did not see that. You can do that. It's very, very easy now to actually do that. We do have an advanced option here. We do have the about. So we can show OS name, OS version. We can show off our hardware. It doesn't show like the kernel version or the Mesa version that you're using, which I wish that was included because I feel like it is important when it comes to like someone like me who's more of a power user who wants to know like the packages that I'm using, so I know if I've got this certain patch for my GPU, so then I can get maybe some little bit better performance in certain games or some game fixes from Mesa or the kernel itself. And you can file a bug report and log level also to check like specific like info that you want to grab in that log. And we can actually do remote access. All right, well, I did try to set up speakers for this video so I could show you the sound effects that the system uses, but my speakers aren't being picked up currently. I think it might be because either my audio is disabled in my BIOS, so I'm gonna go and check that and I'll be right back. All right, and now that we are booted back into it, we can select our avatar. I'll show, this is what it looks like when you do boot up to Playtron. So you select the avatar. So if you do have multiple avatars, like different accounts from Steam, you definitely can pick one. And now, as we can see here, if we go to our output device, we got our speakers here. So it is picking it up properly. And if I do turn the sound up, we can actually hear some of the... Oh my god, it's getting very loud. So if you guys can hear that, these are the sound effects that this system makes. Now personally, I don't like these sound effects. They're a bit gamery, you could say. I wish they were a bit more chill, kind of like the Steam Big Picture mode sounds that get created. Those are very nice, I would say. So as you can see here, some of the other things that we can go into, like display, for example. Now, display only has a brightness level, and the brightness doesn't work because, well, my display, I guess, doesn't support it in Playtron. I know in KDE Plasma, they recently added a brightness support for displays, and it does work for me. So Playtron, if you could add more brightness support to these type of monitors, that would be really cool. I don't know why that just did a weird notification sound, but this is a BenQ monitor. I forgot the actual model number of it, but it is a BenQ monitor. But if we can go further, we can go into our storage. Now, I don't think I've been into storage, so this looks very interesting. I would say this looks pretty cool. We can look at all of our storage. As you can see, I moved all of my games over to this SSD with very little left. And then we've got some of the other drives also, like my NVMe drive, which is EndeavourOS. And I do like this. It shows off a very nice UI for everything. And one thing to note here is when you're installing games, the UI is a bit laggy because I'm guessing my read and write storage on the SSD is going to max, so everything's just a little bit delayed with switching between things. Again, we've already been in audio before. We can see the different audio things. We can go and click on connect a Bluetooth device. If we do that, it's going to go into the Bluetooth page, which the Bluetooth does seem to work. If I do grab some headphones here, I can show this off. So we do have some random wireless Candy Crush earbuds, and if we do turn them on and put them into pairing mode, all right, now it's in pairing mode. As we can see here, it's blinking, which means it's in pairing mode. So as we can see, that is the name of these headphones. If we do push, that's what it's called, we click connect, it should connect to this wireless earbud. Which if we do just look at the earbud, when it connects, it should stop blinking. Oh, it's unsuccessful. That's a rip. Okay, well, there you go. There's one little issue that we've found with Playtron is connecting a wireless earbud. Does not work on my motherboard that I have that has Bluetooth, which is like Bluetooth 5.1. I know in KDE Plasma on EndeavourOS, it does connect properly. So that is a rip that it's not able to connect to it. But if you do have Bluetooth headphones, I would definitely try out this page. So the next one is the Wi-Fi or internet. And as we can see here, there is a bunch of options here that we can connect to. And if we do try to connect to this. All right, and let's see if we can connect to the Wi-Fi. All right, and it did. It actually did work. Successfully connected. Whoa. Click next. And as you can see, there is a tick next to the Wi-Fi that we are connected. All right, and then when there is a power button at the bottom, we can do sleep, restart, and shut down. And I've heard the sleep does work, I'm pretty sure. I don't have a handheld device that can actually see if the sleep function works. I guess we can try it right now and see if it works. Click on sleep. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Now that's a weird sound for sleep. I'm not gonna lie. But it is an indication that it's going to sleep. Now the question is, what's happening? Is it gonna go to sleep? Is it gonna get out of this menu? Hello? What? So sleep is not like going to a lock screen, it's going to turn off all of the internet options. Interesting. I'm guessing, okay, what if I click sleep again? What happens? Nothing? Okay, well, no, it's frozen. It's doing it again. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, okay, so Sleep literally just on desktop, I don't know if this does it on handheld, but on desktop, if you try to do Sleep, it just doesn't go to a lock screen or anything, it just turns off the Wi-Fi, the internet, and probably the Bluetooth is what it gets turned off. But besides that, if we look through our library here, we can see all the games that it did grab. So it should bring up both my Steam games and my Epic games, which it is. We can see Evil Dead, Dying Light Enhanced, Dragon Age, that's all from my Epic Games. Same with Dishonored, that's from Epic Games. Deliver Us Mars, that's from Epic Games also. Darwin Project, that's from Epic Games. So the next thing is that we need to actually install some games to see how it interacts with games. So I guess we'll pick a game here. So let's say Witcher 3, for example. This is what it looks like when you pick a game. It shows a bit of information if there's controller input mapping available, which for some reason this doesn't show both games that I tested. My controller did work, so I don't know why that's being shown. We can add it as a favorite, so if we do click add favorite and we go back to our main menu, then our game should show up here, I'm guessing, or it will show up in the library at the top, or we have to do this. We have to do favorite. Okay, so if you want to show your favorite, you click favorite in the actual game, and then you click on the favorite category in My Games to show the favorite category. So if we do click install now, it does see all of my drives, so technically I can install this on any of them, but we are just going to install it on the SPCC solid state disk. Click on that. We're going to have to agree to this agreement for Witcher 3. We click submit, and there we go. Now it's preparing it. We can click on it, and it will show the downloading. Now, one thing I would like to see is how much is being downloaded for one, like how much of my internet speed is being pulled into downloading this game. So if there was like a graph option available, kind of like what Steam does, that would be really nice. But as you can see, it shows the storage of how big the game is, so that's good that it does show that. Yeah, like if there was like an extra category here, or if there was like a button down here where we could go to a download graph, that would be really cool. We can see here also in the main menu that it's going to show a download progress. So I am going to download a bunch of games, which is going to take a while. So I'm probably going to record this tomorrow, and I will show you guys all of those games to see how it plays out in Playtron. And one other thing to note is that if you're downloading multiple games, as you can see here, we're trying to download Batman Arkham Knight, it is in queue of 2/2. So if you want to download multiple games, you can't do that currently. You have to wait for the other game to finish, which is similar to the Steam Deck and how that downloads games. Now, one other thing to note here is that you can't bring up a side menu like you can with the Steam Deck. So you hold down like the start button or whatever, and it brings up a nice menu of like things that you can change. Like you could enable like screen tearing or VRR, or change the resolution, or enable Mango HUD. You can't do those things on Playtron currently. So I do hope that those features do arrive, so then you can customize all that stuff. At least put it into the settings, like in the display options. They could probably add like VRR or screen tearing. And the other thing that I just noticed here is that if I do restart, it just sits on this frozen menu. I don't think it's actually restarting the computer. So that's a little bit weird that it does do that. Hopefully they can get this fixed also. Alright, seems like Fallout 3 is stuck at around 80% with like the verifying process, like installing process. So we are going to, oh, we can't pause a game that's on its final step. That's a bit interesting. Well, I guess we can try out some of the other games if don't have any like issues when playing them. So we're going to test out the first game that we installed, which is The Witcher 3. So if we click play now, it brings it into this little menu of the game. Error! What? Okay, so you can't play a game if another game is installing. So that's interesting. I guess that makes sense because my SSD is like maxed out, so the game would probably have performance issues while that is installing. So I guess we really do have to wait for this to finish. I can't play any game until this installing is done, which I've been sitting here for about 15 minutes now, or 10 minutes now, and it's been sitting on 80% for that time. It hasn't moved. Alright, so for the time being, I am paused Fallout 3 by restarting it, and we are going to test out some games now. So, we are going to try Witcher 3 again, and we'll see how it goes. So it's just going to sit here and load until it opens up the game scope session for Witcher 3, I'm guessing. Okay, it says here installing dependencies. That's cool. It does tell you a percentage in a little bar. It's actually like installing these dependencies for you instead of just sitting there and you don't really know what's going on. Now, one thing to note here, the one game that I did try yesterday, which on my previous install of Playtron of testing it, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, my save file wasn't there in the game. So I don't think, for right now, I don't think Playtron doesn't grab your save files from Steam. Now, I don't know about Epic Games, and we'll find that out very soon. We'll test out some of the Epic Games, the one Epic Games game that I have installed to see if save data does appear. But for the Steam games, it seems like it doesn't grab your save data or your save files. So when I launch Witcher 3, it's not going to find my save file, and we'll have to create a whole new save file specifically for Playtron. Alright, it's out of that mode, and I'm guessing it's going to open a game scope session now. It's probably going to open the red launcher first, right? That's probably the first thing, yeah. So one good thing is that since it's using GameScope, all the application like launches that appear, they all work perfectly fine. At least for me, they all work. Now, I guess this would be okay when it comes to save data because you could sign into an account and that account probably has save data, right? It would have to because it has cross progression support. So it would be in that account, but I would have to sign in to actually get it. So I guess I'll do that. Now, another thing to note is that you can't actually get out of your game. You have to restart. There's no button that I can press here. There's like, this is the start button and it's not bringing up any type of like menu or this just goes through what the selected thing is. There's no, like I can control my cursor, but there's no way for me to actually get back to the main menu currently. So I have to restart the computer if I want to go back to the main menu, which is what I have to do because I want to get into the game. Okie dokie. Alright. So we try Witcher 3 again. Just have to reconnect my controller. Okay, play now. And also, I did forget to mention that you can use your keyboard to move around the interface. You don't need a controller. So if you are into like, just mouse and keyboard, you can do that. All right, and we should be able to click play here and we'll see if our save data does appear. And then also my other question is, now that I've clicked play on the launcher, will it switch over to that game? I mean, it's GameScope, so it should know what to do here when it comes to closing this launcher and then actually opening the game. But for right now, I've clicked play and it's just sitting here. So let's see if it actually does switch over. All right, well, sadly, I don't think it's going to switch over to the game. So when it comes to playing Witcher 3 on Playtron, it's not possible unless you add a launch command, I guess, but even then, you're not able to add launch commands in Playtron. So you've kind of out of luck here if you want to play games that have, I guess, the red launcher, so Cyberpunk or The Witcher 3 or any other type of CD Projekt Red game, you're not going to be able to play it because of this launcher appearing and not able to add any type of launch commands to skip this launcher. So we are going to have to restart my computer again because we can't exit to the main menu. Quite, not frustrating, just a little bit annoying that we have to do this every time if we want to play a new game. But yet that's another thing, it's alpha software, so we just have to deal with it for now. So I would highly recommend that you do not run this as your main operating system. Please do not run it as your main operating system because it's alpha software. It's got bugs. It's got lots of features that are not available yet. Things like, GameScope not switching to the actual game. You've got save data not appearing. All types of little things that do matter all up when you are using it. So I guess another game we can try is Batman Arkham Knight. Now this one should be pretty easy to launch, I would have to say, because there's no launcher, so it should directly just go into the game. I think GameScope should be able to get this one working pretty easily, if I had to guess. Okay, so I launched the game. It's sitting on a black screen, but I think I'm still in the main menu, and as you can hear, there's notification sounds going off based off me pressing buttons. So it's not actually in the game. We are just sitting on this black screen and we're still in the main menu. Oh, there we go. Okay. It finally decided to actually
do something. Amazing. All right. We're actually in the game now. Okay. Oh, okay. So it did grab my save data for this game. That's really good to see, because the other one was Brotherhood and that one didn't have my save data, but it's good that Batman Arkham Knight does have the save data. So we can load in here. I haven't played Batman Arkham Knight in a while, so I'm probably going to play really badly, but we'll continue the story. Now, one thing I would like to see is for Playtron to add Mango HUD as an option, or just an FPS overlay. Just add your own little FPS overlay that will be in like the top right or top left, similar to the Steam FPS overlay. And as you can see, my controller is working, and audio is working, and yeah, actually amazing how well it is working right now. No issues. No like weird stutters or anything, at least on my system, which is a full AMD system, running extremely well. And this is maxed out settings, I think, with the NVIDIA... Oh no, wait, just gonna run. Yeah, this is maxed out settings with the, I think with the NVIDIA physics, I think it's called, whatever it's called. That's all maxed out, and it's running great. So, Batman Arkham Knight, even though it took a little bit to launch, it's running really good. Now the thing is, what if I close the game fully? What is going to happen here? So we just go exit to desktop. Where's it going to go? Ah, okay. So, if you do want to get out of the game, you just need to exit the game properly. There's no little sidebar menu that allows you to just like exit the game and then come back to it or something. You do have to actually like exit it like you usually do on like a desktop. So the next game we'll try is Dirt Rally 2. I've been playing this a decent amount recently with my racing wheel, but we'll try it on a controller, and maybe I'll try it on a racing wheel, I guess. There's not enough room really for me to set that up actually, so I guess we'll just stick with the controller for now to see if that works in the game. Okay, yep, it did launch properly. GameScope is capturing it. Very nice. I see my controller is working. I just skipped that with my controller. Awesome. Contacting servers. Nice, and we're already in. So I guess we can do some free roaming. We can pick a car. Let's have a look here. I guess we can pick the Audi Quattro. Quattro, is that how you say it? Something like that. I know that's a pretty popular rally car. Has a amazing like history or something for being like a crazy fast rally car with like 0 restrictions. All right, we can go straight in. This is a really weird car, I would say. It looks like a weird little like box basically. But as we can see, the game is working. It's working extremely well. 0 problems. You can hear that turbo, oh my god. Ow. And when it comes to graphics settings, I'm pretty sure we're on max. Oh, that's interesting. It seems like our refresh rate is capped to 60. And that's probably because of GameScope, even though it doesn't feel like 60 at all. It feels like 144 hertz it's going to. That's a common thing that I see with GameScope, is you usually have to tell GameScope what your refresh rate is in a like a launch command. So that it actually goes to like 144 in your display settings. But I don't think that matters because, like I said, this doesn't feel like 60 at all. But we are on max settings now, and it's running really good. And for some reason, our tires, my front right tire is gone, and my bottom right tire is also getting really flat for some reason. Don't know why. Oh, okay. 2 tires are gone. It's over. All right, cool. That game's working. Awesome. Now let's see if we can get out of this game. Let's quit, and then let's see if we can exit game. Awesome. I guess the way it goes out of the games also is pretty clean. It's not like stuttery or like instantly goes out. It fades out, so that's nice. All right, now let's try actually a game from Epic Games. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy here. I have this in my library, but I have never played it. I've only done like benchmarks on it. I've never actually tried to play it. I should play it because it looks like a really cool game. But let's see if it does launch properly because we haven't tested any games from Epic Games. All right, the launcher showed up properly. Can't use a controller in this. We have to use our mouse. Wait. Oh god. What are you doing? I didn't do the volume. What are you on about? Well, there's one issue. I tried to do arrow keys to select play, and for some reason it activated the volume, and the volume
won't go away.
Well, that's interesting.
I cannot stop that from happening.
I'm going to have to restart my computer. 1 second. But that's one issue. Alright, and now we're back into the main menu. We are going to try launching Guardians of the Galaxy again. And we're just going to click play. We're not going to try and muck around with the launcher settings because of that sound bug that happened. Alright, and our controller is working in this game also, which is really good to see. Alright, and now we are actually in the game. I have to turn off the copyrighted music. And now we can do new game. We probably got this. Yep, okay, that's perfectly fine. Let's continue if we can... Well, we click next. There we go. Start game. Like I said, I've never played this, so this is going to be brand new for me. But we are just testing it out. We're actually not really going to play the game. But as we can see, the game is working. My controller is working. Graphics looks decent, I would say. I don't think we have it on the max settings right now. We can see some like very low anti-aliasing going on right now. Okay, we actually can't pause the game. I just want to put it on max settings, you know. No, why that? We're on low settings. What the hell? Gotta turn off motion blur. Alright. I think we had to restart the game to change it, but whatever. That better not be copyrighted music. I swear to God. Like, I've got streaming mode on, so this copyrighted music shouldn't be copyrighted music. Alright, I guess we can actually move around the game now. And as we can... Whoa. Man, that kid's eyes, man. What the... Have you getting like no sleep, man, or something? Or is that makeup? Might be makeup, actually. As you can see here, yeah, everything is working. My controller, yeah, it's working. No real glaring issues, I would say. No stutters or anything happening. Really good, I would say. Alright, now we're actually like going where Quill is older. Alright. I mean, the game does look nice, I would say. But again, I would like to see an FPS overlay. Just to see how well the game is performing. I mean, it looks like it's playing really well. It seems like it has zero problems. We are walking around here and you're like, yeah, there's like no issues. And then if we try to exit the game, let's see what happens here. Alright, and now we're back to the main menu. So, I am going to leave out Fallout 3 because it doesn't want to finalize or finish. So, that is the end when it comes to testing out some games on Playtron. It seems like most of them played really well. What I wish is there was an FPS overlay that could be added, a sidebar thing that could appear like what the Steam Deck does, so you can exit the game like mid-game if you want to, and then probably some other features like VRR. That would be really cool to see. You probably can do that because of GameScope already providing that for you. Some extra display options, so I can change maybe like the resolution or put it on Playtron on a different display. So if I have multiple monitors plugged in, which I do, and because Playtron will show up on my third monitor instead of this monitor that's being shown up right now, and I have to unplug that third monitor so it can appear on that main monitor. So I would like to see some options for that. Also, even though I know Playtron's mostly made for handheld stuff, I would really like to see that. When it comes to mostly everything else, the settings, the sound effects are decent, I would say. I'm not really a fan of them, but they are sound effects nonetheless, and they do work mostly pretty well.
So my thoughts on Playtron OS is that it's a really good operating system, I would say. It has a bright future when it comes to what is included in this and how the actual UI behaves. But, of course, there is a lot of things missing. There's like that sidebar menu that I was thinking of. There was that FPS overlay I was thinking of. There was like things like VRR, for example, or screen tearing, or HDR, those things. I would really like to see in the Playtron OS, and for Playtron's UI to be more filled out with just more things, but not too much where it's like overwhelming. So I am excited to test out Playtron's, next alphas or betas that come out, and I just want to see them continue to improve it. Even though the whole crypto thing is a bit odd, I would say, they do have some good investments when it comes to the company and their future with Playtron as is, and how many devices they could bring supported on Playtron OS. So that's my conclusion with Playtron, I would say. It's a really good operating system. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely give it a like. I would like to know your thoughts about Playtron and your thoughts, with maybe like the crypto thing and their future and your opinion on it. I would really like to know. And thank you to my supporters. I'll show a screenshot of you now. Thank you so much for giving me money every single month. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Yay!
just wonder, can I just like move this like right here? What's up, man?